you know what? I'm in. I can believe that too.
Yeah, because no one's going to believe like the guy sputtering nonsense on the side of the road. You
Right.
know? Like, yeah. So that's completely.
And they're not going to care if a homeless guy goes missing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, who's gonna notice? And then the next thing you know, there's a Doeo walking around because he's a genetically mutated, bioengineered wolf hybrid.
But he remembers. Vengeance.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Shadows and Sightings, the paranormal comedy podcast where we talk about all things spooky. I'm Taylor.
I'm Nick.
And we're digging back into our conspiracy theories this week.
You can never get enough of it.
I was going to say nothing ahead.
No, really. It never gets old. You know, I like how you said like we're getting back into it. I feel like with conspiracy theories, you never really get out of it.
It's always a part of you.
You just go deeper.
It's true, you do. It's like the Mines of Moria.
Yeah. You know, speaking of the Mines of Moria, I love this, but I also hate it at the same time. Apparently, within the books, which I need to just do like a freaking like a read through again.
Yeah, they're surprisingly hard to read through.
They're tough.
As much as I love them,
like they're great. Like the Hobbit's pretty easy to read.
Oh yeah, that's like the Scholastic Book Fair version.
Yeah, but you start reading, like trying to control all my ADHD thoughts whenever, because like there's another thought just popping in my head, but. You start reading them all, and like the Silmarillion, that was brutal.
Oh my god,
that was brutal. It's like reading a textbook.
Yeah, well, because it's like the Bible. It's like
basically, it's like reading the Bible of the Lord of the Rings lore, and that's a tough read. I
have that, and I have the Unfinished Tales of Tolkien, like of Middle Earth, and I have not even started that one yet.
I just need to do it.
Yeah.
Just sit down, suck it up, and do it. But apparently, within the lore of Lord of the Rings, there are things that are more powerful and more scary, per se, than Sauron.
Well, yeah.
Looking through the TikToks of the video that I found, I was trying to like get more info on it, but I think in the book, or somewhere in like his written series, they're not actually named. They're just called like the unknown, essentially, or whatever. But they're like these entities that like live. Like there's one that lives under the Mines of Moria, and it's just this. From the way that it was described, it's just this ever growing internal darkness that just consumes everything, and like it's just chilling under. It's a sentient thing. It's alive.
It's like, why aren't we fighting that instead of Sauron?
But I think it could be wrong. But I read that it said somewhere along the lines that even. Yeah, that's what it was. Gandalf, when he's fighting the Balrog, they run into it, and they both are freaked out, and they kind of start working together, running away from this thing, and it's like chasing them through like the mine. So like Gandalf has only ever spoken about it one time, but apparently him and the Balrog like ran into this thing, and they're like, "Oh shit, this thing
messed him up that bad."
Yeah, and they both were like, "Fuck this, let's get out of here."
We will continue this fight elsewhere.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat.
Well, it's like the spider that Sam fights, Shelob.
Yeah.
She's like this daughter of, it's a thing. She just takes the shape of a spider, but she's the daughter of one of the ancient beings that came before, kind of thing, that was primeval thing that took the light from the elves. And then Samwise is just like, oh, I'm just going to casually just fuck this thing up.
Are you talking about, what's his name? Sauron's master?
Kind of.
Started with an M.
Yeah. Somebody out there listening to this is just screaming
the name, yeah. Screaming the name.
We're Tolkien nerds, but we're not. I cannot remember all the names of all the people.
So yeah, it's a pretty deep lore. Basically, the thing in me is saying it's like Malrog or something. But I know, but it's not. But it's not that. I know it isn't that, but it sounds like it's similar to that. Yeah,
exactly. It's one of the things that took the light from the elves and started the path of the elves leaving Middle Earth and this and that, and like took the trees and made the trees stop singing and all that crazy shit. And Samwise just casually fuck this thing up.
Imagine being the descendant of this primeval god that was one of the OGs, which was there when Middle Earth was formed and all the stars in the universe. And this little 4-foot thing that gets drunk on the weekends
who has an affinity for seasoning salt
and
potatoes.
An obsession with potatoes. Just message your shit up
with a vial of
with this light, with this elven light and a pan. Your weapon of choice is fucking this cast iron pan right here does pretty well,
dude. I would. That would be great. I would fuck with a cast iron pan just walloping people.
Oh yeah, that was probably my favorite scene in Fellowship when he's fighting when they're in Moria and he's just like wrecking these orcs with this like frying pan.
Yeah, doesn't he hit Gollum on the side of the head with the pan too? Like the pan does some damage.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah,
pretty powerful. Yeah, I mean, he hits him a couple times. Like,
yeah, he beats the shit out of Gollum once in a while, but I mean, he deserves it.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
jerk.
But this is, in fact, a paranormal comedy podcast, so thank you guys for being here with us today. And as always, you can find us on social media at Shadows and Sightings Paranormal Podcast on Facebook, Shadows and Sightings Pod on Instagram, or shoot us an email, shadowsandsightings@gmail.com. Always look forward to hearing from you guys, and we're glad you're along for the ride on this goofy little show we have. But Nick,
yep,
what happened this week? Anything good?
Lost my internet. That was an experience, but it was nice.
Probably the Flatwoods Monster.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was, the Wendigo or
some cryptid that has
that's
internet
probably
sapping abilities.
I would have to look through the Japanese spirit lore.
Oh yeah,
because like the Japanese have spirits for like literally everything. Yeah. And there's probably some spirit out there that is blamed for your Wi-Fi dropping. But I mean, it was nice because it was quiet.
Yeah, disconnect a little bit.
Disconnected. I wasn't getting blasted with. I mean, like my phone. Still have my phone and all that, but not having to constantly like being on like my computer.
Mm-hmm.
We play the news on our Google Homes and stuff pretty frequently, so we know like what's going on in the world. But like the Wi-Fi wasn't working, so for 3 days I had no idea what's going on in the world.
Kind of like this.
It's kind of nice.
That's me on a regular basis. I don't watch the news. I don't listen to the news. I just don't care. I mean, I do care. I just don't care enough because it's always bad. It's like I really would rather not start my day with just bad news constantly.
It's not enough where we will turn like sometimes we'll turn it on the TV, like on the weekend maybe we might do it like for a little bit, but it's never. Very rarely does it make it on the screen. Like our newscast is literally like that 5 minutes while I'm getting breakfast ready. Like, okay, what are just some relevant current events? Right. But then after that, it's like, okay, that's all I'm investing in.
Yeah, I think I got to the point where asking my Alexa, I'd be like, give me some good news. What's the good news of the day? And it would just give me some random feel-good story.
Yeah.
So that's why if you're listening to this episode and you're a regular, frequent listener every week, that is why we missed a week, because Nick's internet was out.
Yep. Crashing.
Could I have done it? Sure, I could have done it. I could have dropped the episode. But Nick doesn't give me the password to that kind of stuff. He does not trust me with that information.
I'd have to kill him if I gave out that information.
Yeah. And then I would have to be a ghost and haunt this podcast.
Which would probably boost the views because, now not only are we a paranormal comedy podcast, we're an official haunted.
That just takes us back to a paranormal podcast.
Yeah, I guess. It's just a full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah, I got to pay for oil this week. That sucks. I sent the order in, and they told me how much it was going to be over the phone. And I was like, yeah!
It was like getting kicked square in the balls.
Oh, God, it was terrible. Awful. Yeah, they were supposed to show up today. They didn't show up. I've called them 3 times now.
You just realized.
I just realized, wait, where's my oil?
They can't keep getting away with this.
They were supposed. I called them like a week before, and they're like, oh, yeah, you're on the order for tomorrow. And they still didn't show up. Bastards. I think there's probably a shortage right now because, everything's going on. And they're buying their time. That way they can up the price when it gets here.
Oh, you think so?
I don't know. It could be. Maybe that's.
I feel like if you already have the order in and they gave you the price, I feel like they can't change it no matter what happens.
You think so?
You would think.
You would think. But
that would be common business practice, like good business practice.
Good business, sure. But corporations are corporations.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. I don't know.
But truly, there is never a shortage of oil. There's always oil to be had.
Yeah, I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, I know you guys have it.
Like, get it together.
Come on. Can you just please deliver it? We'll see if they actually show up. Other than that, planning a trip to Gatlinburg.
Oh, that's fun.
I've never been to Tennessee.
It's very touristy.
Is it?
Yeah.
We're staying at.
Oh, this is already booked.
Well, it's through Millie. She has a timeshare. And
sucker.
No, I didn't. I mean, like, it's like I mean, for the price that we're gonna pay for a week, like that's not terrible.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna split the cost.
Probably up in a cabin somewhere.
It's they're like cabin rusticy looking stays. I think it's called like Smoky Gate or something like that.
Okay.
But there's like it's the biggest water park in like Tennessee or some shit, and it's like an indoor water park, kind of like Great Wolf Lodge, but bigger, and they have like a big ass lazy river and stuff in there.
Oh wow!
So we'll stay there for a week. We'll get to see Gatlinburg.
Nice.
You said it's like kind of touristy. I've never been.
It's very touristy. Yeah, it's a tourist trap for sure.
Really? Is it?
Yeah.
Brit said she went when she was little.
Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge are like the two main tourist spots.
Really? I thought. Yeah. Why was I thinking Nashville was?
I mean, Nashville's touristy too, but that's because it's country music capital.
Okay.
And you can go into Nashville and find a bar with live country music or live music in general, every which way. So that's more touristy in like that sense, where it's like a destination tourist stop. Yeah. Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge are just touristy.
I feel
like imagine going to Ocean City's Boardwalk and you have all those goofy shops and all the souvenir shops and just random. That's what it is.
You know, it's funny. I think Chris, our barber, I think he literally described Gatlinburg the way that you just did. Yeah. It's like if you go to Ocean City, you know, but like countrified a little bit. I think that was verbatim what he said. Like,
I will say, back when I went, I mean, it's been fucking 20 years since I've been there, at least 20 years. I was out there for my uncle's wedding, but there was a really cool go-kart track complex there. They have like 6 go-kart tracks, and one is like a big oval where you rent. You have to actually have a driver's license, and I think you got to sign a waiver to drive the cars.
Yeah.
And they go like 60 or 70, 80, something like that, around this racetrack. So that was pretty cool. I didn't get to drive it at the time.
Have you seen I think it's in Thailand. It's either Thailand or Taiwan, where it's like a go-kart track. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to sign a waiver, but it's like they're calling it live Mario Kart.
Oh shit!
Where you're going down this like mountain, but
I have seen that.
There's no guardrails though, yes. So people are like flying off the edge and they're like ramming people off the road and stuff. There's no way that this is gonna last.
Well, you would have to sign a waiver for that.
Yeah, there has to be
because they would get sued out the ass.
Yeah, but yeah, so Gatlinburg, I'm pretty pumped about it.
That's good.
I was like, oh, it's cool. Like I can go visit Nashville while we're also there. I didn't realize Nashville was like 3 hours away from Gatlinburg, and I was like, oh fuck, okay, well maybe not Nashville this time, but we'll take a flight out to Nashville. I want to go. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the people there would probably just be so nice in Nashville.
That or they're going to be absolute assholes. But
yeah, it could be.
It's one or the other.
Yeah. I don't know. And like asshole in the sense like I don't know if like they're racist or not or whatever, but they'll see me.
They'll be racist.
You know, I don't know like if I roll up in that, but yeah, I just
wear a cowboy hat and you'll fit. Right
yeah, I just want to wear a cowboy hat. And they're like they're not going to know. They're like, oh, it's a Mexican.
But there's like a you'd be like Darius Rucker from Hootie and the Blowfish.
Yeah. That's just
black
like,
country guy.
Yeah, I don't feel like subconscious or self-conscious about going there and it being like a racist thing. Like you're right though. It's more like I feel.
I didn't mean like they'd be assholes just because of the way you look. It'd probably just be because here we go, more fucking tourists.
Well, that's what, that's where my mind goes though. It's like okay, like that's like there's the racist part, but then I'm thinking more like they could be kind of bougie and maybe kind of come off as like like kind of conceited a little bit.
I feel like they probably see so many people. Like I don't think bougie would be the right term. It'd probably just be like. I mean, at this point, it's a tourist attraction all year round, right? So
sure,
I feel like. If you live and work in Nashville, you'd probably just accept it at this point.
Yeah.
And I know I think it's Broadway in Nashville is probably the main problem when it comes to tourism.
Sure.
With all the drunk college kids and bachelorette parties and
well, that's what
so on and so
that's
forth.
What Chris was talking about.
Yeah.
He was saying like, because he's talking about Nashville and he was like, depending on the time that you go, it could be like a really nice experience for like you and your wife going out the night on the town, or very quickly it can turn into like a drunk party town, depending on the time of year or something like that. So I don't know. We'll see.
Sounds like a good time either way.
Yeah, I'm fine. I just want a nice, big old mean stack of pancakes.
There you go. With some Smoky Mountain maple syrup.
Oh my God, some big thick ass cut bacon. Oh.
You just want a country breakfast is what you want.
It's like the Grand Slam.
Yeah, there's literally a Cracker Barrel
There's a
right
Denny's
down
up the street. Oh, it's got to be Nashville Grand Slam.
I don't know what that means.
It's like don't say that.
We've got
around
hot
here.
chicken here, but I mean, other than that,
No. I want the Nashville Grand Slam. Stop saying that. That's code for something. And if you don't stop, you're going to get a visit from a very large man.
Marco's going to meet you out back.
On my bucket list, Nashville Grand Slam.
Your safe word is y'all.
Yeah. What about you, buddy? Any plans on your end?
I have no plans immediately, but I had a really cool experience over the weekend. We went to the Creature Feature.
Oh yeah, I saw that. How did that go?
That was incredible. I've never been to a con before. I know, that's crazy. I've never been to one. Never been to a Comic-Con, nothing like that. This is like I've never been to one.
We've gone.
I have not gone. You have gone. And then y'all tell me that you're there. And you're like, oh, you should come to this thing. And I was like, well, it's already over. Yeah.
Kid you not. Dude.
Yeah.
I have like core memories of us like being at a con.
It's not me.
What the actual fuck?
Mandela effect. Are you talking about like Hagerstown, like the community college? Because their con's coming up, but I've never been to it.
It's nice. We should go.
Yeah. I was getting to that. I was like, I've never been to a con, and this was a horror themed con, you know, and I'm hooked. It was so much fun. It was so much fucking fun.
Love them.
They had vendors out the ass. It was in this big hotel, so they had vendors out the ass. The coolest vendor there was the guy, if you've seen Silence of the Lambs. With it's Hopkins, like Hannibal Lecter and Buffalo
Anthony
Bill.
Hopkins. Yeah.
Well, the guy owns the Buffalo Bill house, like the real one that they filmed.
Okay.
So he rents it out as an Airbnb. You can stay in it. It's up near Pittsburgh. We should go. We should do that just because. But he also sells hot sauce. So he makes like the hot sauce there. And of course, he makes lotion. I was like, "This is have figured it out." Like,
put the lotion,
puts the lotion on the skin. Yeah, and I was like, "That's fantastic." Yeah. But vendors at the ass, and then they had a bunch of quote unquote celebrities from horror movies. Some stuff I had never seen before, but they had like the guy that was in the Toxic Avenger, which was like an '80s B movie horror film or whatever. But they did have
like a Marvel thing.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was like a guy that gets turned into a toxic sludge monster thing.
Oh, okay.
And then they had the guy that I think directed The Reanimator, another 80s horror movie.
Why does that sound so familiar?
But I guess the main star there was Quinn Lord, who plays Sam from Trick or Treat. Like, he's the little kid that was in the Trick or Treat costumes. He was there. And then from the original Halloween, which was cool, Tommy Doyle, like one of the original little kids that is in like the main, like one of the main characters of the movie, he was there.
Oh, okay.
But he was looking rough, but
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, he was probably in his 60s now.
Yeah.
But so that was cool to see some people that I was like, oh shit, I don't meet many celebrities, if ever.
The last con we went to, we got pictures with Hayden Christensen.
I see, that's way better.
That's
Which con was that? Because I want to go now that I've gone to like this level con, I want to go to a big one.
Oh yeah,
I want to go to a big one.
Oh hell yeah, we should definitely go. That one was
probably New York City Comic Con or something.
No, you didn't go that far for
Baltimore. I know Baltimore's got a couple
and DC
big ones.
has them.
Yeah.
That one was that Con? Baltimore normally has the Comic Con. Like they have like a Comic Con there. It's at the Gaylord facility, like the big Baltimore Convention Center.
Mm-hmm.
They had that there. They had a tattoo con a couple years ago we went to.
Oh, that would be fun.
That was pretty neat.
They had tattoos at this place.
That was pretty neat.
They had like a little walk-in. I mean, they didn't have anything I wanted.
Maybe no. Otaku Con. Is that the one we went to? That's the one that one was in DC. That one had like Hayden Christensen. All the big players were at that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, this one I was going to say, this one also had, and we just like stumbled in because it's the Wyndham in Gettysburg, and it's also with the theater that's right next to it.
Yeah.
And we're walking around because there's going to be a costume contest at 4. You see people walking around in their cosplays and stuff.
Yep.
We walk in because we're early, and there's the fucking original 2 guys that were in the Resident Evil on PlayStation.
Nice.
Like I guess they were in the opening cutscenes and closing scenes. And maybe they did some voice acting work for it, but they were like the original dudes from Resident Evil 1 on PlayStation. I had no idea they were there.
Back when they had actual actors play the intros to games and all that. Yeah.
Yep. And, it was, the guy that plays Chris Redfield, and then
Probably
Barry,
Wesker.
I think.
Barry?
Yeah. It was those two guys.
Gotcha.
Really Australian dude.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. I was like, we walked in and it was like everybody's there in the Resident Evil costumes
awesome.
and cosplays, and they're just on the stage talking about the game. And I was like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
No, I'm glad you. Yeah, what? That's I had no idea you'd never been to a con before. Like, what?
Nope.
Yeah. Oh,
But yeah, now I'm hooked. I'm like, I gotta go to every
You're gonna
con.
get addicted. Yeah, they're so good.
I
dude.
definitely want to go to a wrestling con.
Yeah. Definitely need to get to a con this year.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then my second thing that I had to bring up for this podcast is I finally sat down and watched the Mothman Prophecies.
Yeah. Okay.
Never seen it before.
It's been years since I've seen it.
And I gotta say, I did not care for it.
It was not memorable.
Yeah, I did not care for it. It was too much movie for what it was. This is my best description of it. It's a lot of atmospheric shots.
Yeah.
A lot of nothing. It's just a lot of nothing in that movie. It's like to build the suspense, but then nothing.
But nothing ever happens. Yeah, nothing ever happens.
So we don't ever get to see Mothman.
He's
just like a vision that pops into people's brains. But then they never explain how. And this is spoilers for Mothman Prophecies. If you've never seen it, just skip ahead a little bit. The other guy who is having these experiences, he's like, Eldridge Cool or whatever the fuck the guy's name is. He's sitting right next to me. You want to talk to him? He's like, yeah, I want to talk to him. And he talks to him on the phone. He's like, what is in my hand? Oh, you're holding chapstick. You couldn't have known that. It's all this stuff that nobody could know except for him. How is he talking to this guy on the phone? Was that a vision?
No.
Was that just him having a mental episode?
No. Probably, man. Probably both.
They never explain anything.
Nope.
It's like
don't need to explain it.
And then the bridge collapses, and that's the end of the movie.
Yep.
It's like, all right, so we're never gonna find out anything.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I was like, this was a waste of my time. Not a waste of my time. I'm glad I watched it, but at the same time, I was like, I kind of wish I didn't watch it.
Yeah. I when I say it's been forever since I think I watched it because that came out in the 90s, right?
Yeah, it was 98, 99, something.
I remember
like that.
watching it with Glenda when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, yeah, well, it was the same. From what I remember, I was like, yeah, there's not a whole lot going on in this movie.
Well, then of course, Allison, she's a big Will and Grace fan, so the girl that plays Grace is in the movie.
Yeah.
And they drew Mary Barrymore her ass from Scream. Like, she's in the first 5 minutes and they fucking kill her off. I was like, she was so upset.
Oh yeah, Drew Barrymore was in Scream.
Yeah.
Like, I completely forgot about that.
You think she's going to be the star of the movie, and then they kill her in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Well, wasn't there like an Avengers movie or a Marvel movie where they did that? There was like some big guy. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Godzilla. It was Bryan Cranston.
Oh yeah,
is in Godzilla.
Yeah, and they hyped him up so much in the trailers.
In the trailer, and he literally dies in like the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. Yeah. He's like only. I was like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah.
But then to cap off my weekend, I have Shudder, the horror movie streaming app, and there was a movie on there called The Last Video Store. I was like, this sounds fun. I'll sit down and give this a watch. And that was the biggest. It's like the Rock meme. It was the biggest piece of dog shit. If whoever made that movie was watching this, like, you tried, you really did. It was. I could see the appeal to some people. It was like a C horror movie where this guy runs a video store, and I don't even know the time frame because it seemed very modern for him to own a video store. And then this like little girl brings back this videotape from her dad, and it's a cursed videotape that brings all these other fictional characters from these movies to life. Yeah. So of course they're all ripoffs. You have like a Jack Reacher ripoff who's supposed to be like an action hero, but he's actually a bad guy. Yeah. You have a Jason Voorhees ripoff who ends up being the good guy. It's just very strange.
It was just a bizarre ride. Yeah. It was a strange experience.
It was. If I was high as a kite watching that movie, I probably would have had a blast.
Yeah.
But
it's been a while since I've had partaked
I like
anything. In anything, but yeah. No, still all good. Yeah. I'm glad.
Well, that was my weekend in a nutshell.
Oh, fuck it. No, we're definitely going to a con. Like, I'm so excited that I had no idea. You should have said something.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. God. But you got Hagerstown, the community college. It's coming up in like the end of April.
That's where.
So like that'll be cool to just kind of pal around it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's where I first saw the guy with all the posters, the cryptid posters. Mm-hmm. I saw him there a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we got to hit
on the agenda
for sure.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking it'd be cool to start our own con. We'll start a cryptid con.
We got to go to the Bigfoot one they have in West Virginia over the summer. Sick.
That'd be sick. You mean Point Pleasant? You mean Mothman?
No. There's one in West
Bigfoot con?
Virginia for like Bigfoot.
Oh, shit.
It's like a Bigfoot well, it's not a con, it's more like a festival because it's outside, but it's like a Bigfoot festival.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the episode. But before we do that, Nick, Cryptid Corner for the week. Anything good? Actually, I had this idea too. I'd like to open the Cryptid Corner to our audience.
Yeah.
So I'll put on socials every Monday, I think. I'm going to start making a post on Monday for the Cryptid Corner. If anybody out there has any good cryptid stories or any paranormal stories, UFO conspiracies, anything like that, anything wild, just drop them in the comments or send us a message, and we'll feature your submission on the Cryptid Corner.
Yeah,
for the
sounds
week.
good. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get some interesting things.
I hope so.
From that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I hope so.
I thought this was pretty neat. You know, a couple weeks ago we talked about Bigfoot and all those sightings in Ohio. For those of you that are familiar with the Bigfoot lore, I'm sure you're familiar with the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film, and that's the iconic footage of Bigfoot walking in the forest and kind of turns backwards and looks at the camera.
That grainy footage.
And like, oh God, this is what started it all. It's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, after almost 60 years, it has been exposed as a hoax.
Oh.
The son of the man who took the original footage has come forward after a new video showing a test run of the suit has been found. Some of the major points to the story: a 40-ish second physical film reel that was proven not to be AI exists that showed Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin shooting a test run of a guy in a Bigfoot suit that matches the subject of the Patterson-Gimlin film. Clint Patterson, Roger's son, says that around 2016, his mom admitted to him that Roger had hoaxed the films. Clint wanted to come forward, but his mom was against this, as she was making residual money off of the lore and stuff.
Of course she was.
Yeah. She later agrees to come forward and admit it was fake. Clint saw his dad burn the suit piece by piece in the barrel. I did hear about that he tried to get rid of the evidence or something.
Okay.
That's why when I see this now,
it's like, I thought we already did this.
Yeah, I thought this was already a thing. A couple of years ago, it's been debunked or whatever. Around 2016, so that makes sense. Clint talks to Bob Gimlin at a conference, and Bob seemingly agrees to do an interview, admitting the whole thing was a hoax before his wife shuts him down. So thought that was interesting. So that's kind of resurfacing, the Bigfoot film that allegedly put Bigfoot on the map has now been
started the craze.
Hoax. Is it real? Is it not real? I'm sure there are people out there that are still going to be like, oh yeah, it was real. I tend to believe that it was fake only because I forget the dude's name, but he's like a professor at the University of Washington or some shit, some Midwestern.
Washington's not Midwestern.
It's either Washington or like a Midwestern, somewhere out west. And he is an anthropologist, like a doctor in anthropology, and he has dedicated his life and his studies to debunking Bigfoot. So he has thousands of plasters. Thousands of No, I think he thinks it's real, but he's saying that he takes all the plasters of the foot casings and everything. And he's these are legit. This was not made by
he spends his time trying to prove Bigfoot exists, not disprove it. But he's not one of those guys that will take every single thing and say it's evidence,
because he's a scientist. So I think he believes that there is Bigfoot out there, but he's also skeptical. He's like, hey, for what it is, I'm open to this idea that Bigfoot exists, but I'm going to use modern science and methodologies, and if we disprove it, then that we'll let the science speak for itself, kind of thing.
Okay.
He's really cool. Just listening to him talk is pretty interesting. Yeah. He gets into it because he's like, look, this is the footprint of an orangutan, and this right here is the paw print of an East Asian,
leopard,
East Asian leopard, or a howler monkey that only at this time of the year it kind of steps like this when the moon's just right, And he really gets into his stuff, and it's pretty neat.
Good for him.
So yeah, that was my Cryptid Corner. It kind of sucks, but
nice. No, I like it.
It is what it is. What about you, buddy?
Oh, I didn't look one up this week.
Oh, okay. Fuck me, I guess.
I had to cover. Not on camera.
No.
I had to cover your ass last week, so I figured I'd let you have it this week.
Gotcha.
I'm just kidding.
It's all good. We do pretty good here. Shadows and Sightings. We do pretty good here about improvising and going on the fly.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Every once in a while. But yeah, so like I said, Cryptic Corners, I'm going to post them on Mondays or Tuesdays. I don't know. Someday. Just look for the post.
Yeah.
I'll make it a weekly post so you'll know that it's coming. And then just submit your crazy stories that you find or that you've heard of or personal experiences, anything like that. And you will get featured on the show. I think that's a pretty good deal. Get your name on a listened to podcast. It's at least listened by at least 4 people. I know that.
Yeah, I got to look at the metrics again and see what it is. Yeah.
So, good stuff. You ready to talk some conspiracy theories today, buddy?
I'm curious to hear what you have. So I know you kind of told me last week what you're going to be talking about, but I'll let you.
I was very ambiguous about it.
I'll let you.
I said it was going to be very local.
Yeah.
So while we were talking about what we were going to do for our episodes, and we're like, oh, we're going to do some conspiracy theories. I'm like, okay, great. Love it. I go down the rabbit hole trying to find a good conspiracy theory, and Nick comes up with a really good one. And I'm driving home, and lo and behold, I have a thought because it looms above my house.
It is pretty ominous.
Site R, Site C, and Fort Ritchie are all connected. In Fort Ritchie, I'm at Fort Ritchie almost every day. But if you've never heard of what these stations are, or these alleged government or not government communications places are, the lore behind them is really quite interesting. So I'm pretty excited to dive into what is considered, at least in my neck of the woods, one of the most fascinating local stories involving government conspiracies, cover-ups, etc., etc. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about Site R, Site C, Fort Ritchie, better known maybe as Raven Rock. If you've played Fallout, Raven Rock is definitely in that game.
Yeah, there was, yes.
Yeah,
there was. They did make an appearance in there.
Yeah, to give some context, it's up near Cascade, Sibyllsville, Emmitsburg, Fairfield kind of area, about an hour and a half away from Washington, D.C. Essentially, what this is touted as being is a communications device for AT&T. But that's not the truth. It never is quite as simple as that. And then, of course, Fort Ritchie is this giant abandoned army base that was active for many years. So, Nick, I'll open the floor here to you a little bit.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you knew previously about Site R, Site C, Fort Ritchie, etc.?
I knew that Fort Ritchie was an army base, now defunct. Is that the right term?
Defunct, yeah.
Defunct?
Yeah.
I remember going there as a kid when my dad was in the army, and I remember him, just taking me there. And I want to say it was active then.
It closed down as an active base, I think, in the late 90s, like 98, 99.
So then, that checks out, because I remember going there probably 94.
Oh, wow.
I was little. I was probably like 3 or 4. I just remember him taking me there to the park and seeing the lake there and all that.
Okay.
But then, of course, like what he told me about Site R, because when he was in the military, he was like, Site R is up there. It's the top secret. They got a fence up there. There's actually armed guards. If you go too close to it, they'll actually approach you and try to shoo you away from what the fuck are you doing here kind of thing. It was always just explained to me as like a communications hub. It's pretty much like a city underneath the mountain there, which it makes an appearance in that new Netflix movie that came out last year, House Full of Dynamite, which was that one I was telling you about it. It's like some unnamed person or organization launches a nuke at the U.S. and it's just like a time lapse of like the whole movie takes place over the span of like 17 minutes from different perspectives.
Okay.
And one of the characters in the film is like a FEMA kind of person, and it kind of her story is more or less, it kind of shows like how fucked up the bureaucracy is of like picking people that are okay, you're chosen to survive this nuclear event. So she's at work and like they just roll up and they're like, okay, you're on this list of people that needs like essential personnel.
Right.
So you're coming with us, and they take her to Site R.
Okay.
And like they're all like going into the mountain or whatever. And
Oh, shit. All right.
Yeah. So
Well, maybe this isn't as much of a conspiracy as I thought it was going to be.
I don't know. I mean, like there's definitely
With it being
like
public knowledge like that, everybody apparently knows what Sightings is.
I mean, no. I mean, like we know, but we don't know like what it actually is.
Yeah.
You know, like I couldn't tell you like what actually. I've heard rumors that they have like highways underneath like Site R or whatever. You know,
Okay,
and then there's a mega rumor that it connects to like mega bases out like Midwest and all that. There's like an underground highway that runs over the United States.
I don't buy that one. That one's a little far fetched.
Yeah, like the military has this like complex, like that connects like these like Raven Rock facilities.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you got?
So I guess we'll start with. So I mentioned Fort Ritchie, and then also Camp David's involved in this too.
Yeah.
They're all connected.
Yeah.
So just a brief history of what Fort Ritchie is. Before it was a military post, the area was the Buena Vista Ice Company, and in the late 1800s, workers used to cut the ice from the lakes and ship it by rail to D.C. and Baltimore. So it got cold enough up there that they would just have a giant block of ice, and they would just chip it and send it off.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. 1926, the Maryland National Guard bought the land and was used as a training camp. And then when it really kind of starts taking off in the public view, I guess, or the main part of the history, is during World War II, where the site became a military intelligence training center, and nearly 20,000 soldiers were trained there in interrogation, psychological warfare, and map reading. About 2,000 of the men that were trained there were Jewish refugees who had fled Nazi Germany. Because they were fluent in German and understood the culture, they were sent back to Europe to interrogate prisoners. It's estimated that they gathered 60% of the actionable intelligence in the European theater. So, pretty sick to just... I live 3 minutes away from one of the highest touted military information agencies of World War II, where they sent the most badass people to pretty much just beat the shit out of people and find out what they know.
Yeah.
Up in the area, there's a lot of stone buildings, and there's an actual castle. Like, it's not a big castle, but it's designed to look like a castle from the outside. It was designed by Colonel Robert Barrick and using the local stone from the Cascade area to keep costs down during the Depression. Since then, it was used as a housing facility for military veterans, and then was closed in 1998. It was just kind of sat abandoned for forever. But now you have the Ritchie Revival, who are taking the old buildings, turning them into new things. There's like a salon up there. There are little barrack houses or little like finger homes or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
They're like little apartments. They're pretty sweet looking.
Yeah.
You have an ice cream store up there. They're turning the one place into a hotel. It's crazy what they're doing.
Got the Discovery stations up there now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So Fort Ritchie is pretty cool. I walk around there all the time just because it's so close. Take the dog out and walk them. Then you have, like I mentioned, Site R, also known as the Underground Pentagon. So I guess that's not as secretive as I thought it was. But as the Cold War ramped up and the Soviets tested their first atomic bomb in 1949, the U.S. realized that the Pentagon was a sitting duck. So in 1951, President Truman approved the construction of the Raven Rock Mountain Complex, also known as Site R, blasted out of greenstone granite, some of the hardest rock in the world, which makes it a natural barrier for nuclear strikes or any kind of bombings. Yeah. There is a city inside, so you're mostly correct. It consists of 5 separate 3-story buildings nestled inside a massive cavern, and it was designed to hold 3,000 people for 30 days of total isolation. It has its own power plant, reservoirs, and even a fitness center and a medical clinic. I've also heard there's a McDonald's and a Starbucks in there, but whether or not that's true, I don't know.
No freaking way. Yeah.
The Sicily activated on September 11th. Vice President Dick Cheney was evacuated there to ensure the continuity of the government while D.C. was under threat. So if anything happened to George Bush, Dick Cheney would have taken charge. Yep. And who knows? We might have been more fucked than we already were.
Yeah, that would have been that would have been an experience.
Then you have Site C, which is actually what's right above Fort Ritchie. So probably what you're thinking of as being Site R is actually Site C. It's on the Quay Rock Mountain. It's the highest point on South Mountain. And before the military took over the summit, it was actually part of the Penmar Resort. It was a massive tourist destination in the late 1800s that featured an observatory tower. It also had like a roller coaster and a little train and shit up there too.
Penmar Park.
It used to be the Hershey Park.
Yeah, it was like a pretty big deal back in the day.
It was crazy. Like you go up there and see the history of Penmar Park. It's just this tiny little thing now, but
back in the day, it was a big deal. Yeah,
people from all over the country would
come visit. Yeah,
it's crazy how fast the night changes. During the Cold War, the summit was restricted for Site C, which serves as the primary radio and microwave relay for Raven Rock. Because Site R is deep underground, it needs Site C to, quote-unquote, talk to the outside world, including nuclear silos and the White House. And then you have Camp David, which is considered like the private sector of the White House a little bit. It's like a little mountain retreat. While Fort Ritchie was a bustling intelligence hub and Site R is a massive military command center, Camp David was built for one thing: presidential isolation. In 1938, the facility was originally built by the Works Progress Administration as a camp for federal employees and their families called High Catoctin. In 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt took it over because he needed a secure, cool mountain retreat to escape the D.C. heat and the threat of German U-boats, which he made his previous yacht trips dangerous, and named it Shangri-La after the fictional mountain kingdom. 1953, President Dwight D. Eisenhower gave it its current name, and he didn't think Shangri-La sounded presidential enough, so he renamed it Camp David after his father and his 5-year-old grandson. There is a bunker under there. Beneath the rustic cedar shake cabins lies a massive concrete reinforced command center. It was significantly overhauled during the Eisenhower era to include a bomb shelter, advanced communication arrays, and emergency living quarters. In the Cold War, the bunker at Camp David was codenamed Cadre. It was linked to a microwave tower codenamed Creed, similar to the Site C on Quirac Mountain, ensuring that if DC was hit, the president could still command the military from the Maryland Wood. And to go to what you're saying, the most persistent rumor is that a maglev tunnel connects Camp David directly to Site R and Fort Ritchie and Site C.
Yeah.
So there's a theory that there's a huge train system underneath the mountain. Meanwhile, geologists argued that the greenstone granite is incredibly hard to bore through, and a 6-mile tunnel would be a massive multi-decade engineering feat. However, unmarked service roads and highly restricted flight paths between the two sites suggest that while there may not be a physical tunnel, they are part of a single unified security bubble. So on the surface level, that's where we're at. Quote-unquote top secret government facilities that everybody seems to know is where the president goes if shit goes down.
Yeah. Yep. Could all be smoke and mirrors, and like this is all like Site R is just like a front or whatever, and there's like, Site T or something.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because a lot of people do think that those are just fronts for what's really going on underneath.
Yeah. There's like another facility that's just like not even talked about.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with some of the theories around Fort Ritchie. Even though the Army closed the base in 1998, its proximity to Site R means that the area is still heavily monitored. Many believe that the base was just the front door, quote-unquote, for the massive operations happening deep inside of the mountain. The mystery of the mountains is that they aren't just hollowed out for offices. The theories about what's actually happening in the bedrock range from the high-tech to the truly bizarre. Given the heavy security and the sheer scale of these sites, some of the crazier theories that local enthusiasts and former staffers have whispered about over the years is that the sentient network at Site R. One of the more modern theories is that Site R isn't just a backup Pentagon, but the quote-unquote brain of a highly advanced automated defense AI.
Funny that you say that. There in Fallout 3, depending on which storyline you follow in the game, you get to Raven Rock and you're trying to kill or communicate with President Eden, and it turns out that he's like an AI system.
No shit.
And under the mountain, he's like a supercomputer.
Yeah.
He's not actually like an actual person, but he's like broadcasting to like the wasteland,
Yep. Yeah. The theory is after 9/11, the facility was upgraded with massive server banks to run a predictive algorithm. And some claim the system is so integrated into our national infrastructure that it can, quote-unquote, auto-activate and take over key government functions if it detects a specific level of chaos in D.C., effectively running the country without a single human in the room.
Terrifying, but cool at the same time.
And then again at Fort Ritchie, even though Fort Ritchie is officially closed and being redeveloped, the conspiracy community insists that it was never just a base. Some theories say that the castle and other stone structures at Fort Ritchie are allegedly the surface level for a massive high-speed maglev tunnel that connects directly to Site R and possibly all the way to Camp David. Locals have reported strange vibrations and humming sounds coming from the ground deep at night, long after the base has shut down. Some say the abandoned housing on the outskirts is still used by plainclothes security who monitor anyone getting too close to the mountain access points. I live there. I can't say that I've ever heard a hum coming from deep below the ground, but I also don't really listen because there is a train right down the street from my house, so I might not hear it. Because the sites were built into greenstone granite, which is incredibly dense and provides natural shielding, there are rumors that they are the primary testing grounds for electromagnetic weaponry like EMPs and cloaking tech. This theory suggests that the military uses the natural insulation of the mountain to test tech that would otherwise fry every cell phone in Maryland. If you've ever had your GPS glitch out or lost radio signal near Blue Ridge Summit for no reason, some theorists say that you just drove through a testing field. Which I think I have had happen, actually, once or twice, just having my GPS go crazy. But
yeah, interesting.
Another theory is that a section of Site R is rumored to house a cryogenic facility. The goal is to preserve essential personnel or even historical figures, Walt Disney kind of, like the Walt Disney theory, or Jurassic Park kind of way, to ensure that even if the surface is wiped out, the quote-unquote best of humanity can be restarted centuries later.
Okay.
Not the craziest thing I've ever heard, I guess.
I'm open to it, it's fine. Who we got here? We got Mike Tyson. We got...
who we take into the future?
We got Mike Tyson here. We got, let's see what we got. We got the guy who plays Colonel Sanders in the KFC commercials.
The original Colonel Sanders.
The original Colonel Sanders.
Reba McEntire.
Believe it or not, Elvis Presley's here.
You also have a couple of, just regular guys. You got
there's Joe, and Larry, and Frank. He's an ice cream man on the weekends.
Oh, yeah. We couldn't leave him behind.
Yeah, got to have good ice cream.
And then that's Dave. Dave's got an 11-inch dong.
Why do we need him? It just seemed like a waste if we didn't save him. Operation Repopulation. If you get my drift.
He's the less problematic version of Ron Jeremy.
Kind of like Ron Jeremy, but nicer. He
without all the rape allegations.
Yeah, he's respectful. Means well. Goes to service Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
Dong flapping in the wind every day.
Yeah. You don't mind it? No, neither do I. Fine. It is what it is. If you go ahead and sign this waiver right here, you can get in that cryo tube,
and Dave will leave you alone.
And Dave will leave you alone. We'll be off to it.
All right. So, this was actually one of my favorite theories about what's going on underneath these places. There's a local fringe theory that ties into the cryptid and to the military. The theory suggests that the government didn't just build in the mountains by accident. They chose the area because of the thin reality or high levels of unexplained activity. Some believe that the Snallygaster sightings in the 20th century were actually early experimental drone prototypes or biological experiments that escaped from the lower levels of the mountain complexes.
Oh, that's cool. That'd be so dope.
So to touch on that some more, it's so fucking good.
Huh.
The Snallygaster, a metallic-beaked, one-eyed bird reptile with tentacles, originating in German immigrant lore. We've talked about the Snallygaster, so go back and listen to that episode. Its modern conspiracy ties are much darker. Some theorists argue that the 20th century Snallygaster sightings were actually the public's first glimpse of classified surveillance tech, and the creature's metallic beak and screech like a locomotive matched a description of early, loud propulsion systems and experimental airframes.
I believe it.
I was going to say, you're looking at me like you're a little concerned, but at the same time.
I believe it. No questions asked. Yeah, that's legit.
Okay, well, I got another one. We'll decide between the two which one's more plausible. Another popular theory suggests that the deep labs under Fort Detrick, which manages Site R and Fort Ritchie, weren't just for viruses, but for chimeras. If something escaped or was released for a field test in the Catocta Mountains, the government would naturally lean into the local legend to make witnesses sound like they had just seen a fairy tale. So government created bioengineered monster or early drone attack weapon systems?
Yes.
Both. It's both.
Yes, it's both. There's some pretty gnarly things that come out of Detrick.
And then you cannot talk about the Snallygaster without its rival, the Deweo. And I don't think we've talked about the Deweo very much on the show.
We didn't do it yet.
Some local fringe researchers claim that the DeWeo sightings are actually sightings of genetically enhanced canine units or super soldiers designed for mountain combat and sentry duty around the high-security perimeters of Raven Rock. The most persistent modern theory is that the snallygaster isn't a biological creature from the 1700s, but a misidentified aerial prototype.
Interesting.
Yeah, so basically people kind of say that the early descriptions of the snallygaster match the sounds exactly as an early turbine engine or a hydraulic system being tested in the mid-20th century.
Huh.
And because the Catoctin area is so rugged, any quote-unquote drone tech tested there would need to hover or drop vertically. To a hiker in the 1950s or 60s, seeing a silent, dark, tentacled shape, which would actually be a sensor array or a landing gear, dropping from the clouds would easily be translated as a snallygaster.
It could be. I'm open to that.
Some believe the government intentionally leaned into the snallygaster legend as a psychological chaff. If a civilian saw a classified craft, the government would suddenly leak monster stories to the local press, like the Frederick News Post, so that the witness would be laughed at rather than taken seriously.
I'm open to that, and I wouldn't put it past the government, because with legends like that, you kind of need an out, and when you have like myths, folklores, that's your out. Like people already believe it,
yeah.
So you just got to give them the evidence to make it more believable.
It's like, oh yeah, you're totally right. You're not crazy at all. You definitely seen something. Yeah. Definitely a snallygaster.
It wasn't a military grade,
turn of the century drone at all. We're not working on anything super high tech or secret up here. Yeah, definitely not.
Nazis, they're going down. What was that?
And while the snallygaster is the quote-unquote eye in the sky, the DeWeo is often theorized as the boot on the ground. There's a French theory that the DeWeo sightings in the Granville State Park and near Fort Ritchie were actually biological field tests. The idea is that the military was experimenting with gene splicing or augmented scouts, designed for mountain warfare, creatures that could navigate the vertical terrain of the Appalachians better than any human. Folklore says the snallygaster and the DeWeo hate each other and engage in vicious encounters. Conspiracy theorists argue this rivalry is actually just testing two different weapon systems against each other in the wild: aerial surveillance versus ground-based pursuit. When a man in Frederick claimed that he was attacked by a bear-sized creature with a bushy tail that stood on its hind legs, it happened right during a period of massive expansion at Site R. Some believe that Becker stumbled upon a security asset that escaped its perimeter.
I mean, yeah, that's not crazy. It's okay. It's a little far-fetched. That's a little out there. But
this is why we're here.
Yeah,
that's why we're here.
That's why we do conspiracy theories, though. Yeah, no, I like it though. I will entertain that slightly.
Okay, well we'll keep digging at that, because before it closed, many believed that the castle building in Fort Ritchie was the access point to a subterranean laboratory. The theory suggests that while the Ritchie boys were training in intelligence upstairs, the deep underground command center downstairs was housing the biological assets. And the Ritchie boys are, of course, the ones I talked about earlier who were training to go fight Nazis. Yeah. One of the craziest theories about Raven Rock is that the mountain isn't just protected by blast doors, but by biological deterrence. So the snallygasters and DeWeos might be released into the surrounding woods as a high-tech living security fence to keep hikers and urban explorers away from the sensitive air vents and emergency exits. Some claim that there's a low-frequency vibration around Sibyllsville and Thurmont and those kind of areas, and some say it's not just the generators, it's the ventilation for the lower-level habitats where these government cryptids are kept.
That's the one. That's the one I like. Let that one be real.
Yeah, I just love the idea that the cryptids that we know and love are just government experiments, be it drones or genetically mutated people. Like that's both of those to me are equally plausible. Because could I believe that the government is working on high-tech, sophisticated drone strikes and calling it something different? Absolutely, I can. Based on your theory last week of the false flag narrative.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they can make drones and attacking people with them.
Yeah, exactly. They will, if they need a reason to test something, they will certainly find it, and they will if you can manipulate the masses and believe in whatever you need to justify the actions, I'm sure.
And can I also believe that the government is doing gene splicing on? I mean, who would they probably gene like hobos, homeless people?
Yeah,
just take them up to Fort Ritchie, go down an elevator shaft, and start like a huge network of labs and stuff like that underneath the ground. You know what? I'm in. I can believe that too.
Yeah, because no one's going to believe like the guy sputtering nonsense on the side of the road.
Right.
Know? Like, yeah. So that's completely.
And they're not going to care if a homeless guy goes missing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, who's gonna notice? And then the next thing you know, there's a Doeo walking around because he's a genetically mutated, bioengineered wolf hybrid.
But he remembers. Vengeance.
The most modern version of the Ritchie Boys theory claims that it's an elite intelligence unit originally trained at Fort Ritchie, and while the Army officially moved out in 1998, locals and researchers believed a ghost garrison remains. These aren't standard soldiers, they are plainclothes security or civilian contractors who live in the surrounding towns like Sibylla's and Thurmont. Their job is rumored to be counterintelligence and sightings management. If a hiker or a paranormal researcher gets too close to a sensitive ventilation shaft or a greenstone outcropping, these units are allegedly tasked with redirecting them or using psychological deterrents, like starting rumors of ghosts or aggressive wildlife to keep the area clear. During World War II, the OSS built a quote-unquote house of horrors at Catoctin, a dark, unstable building filled with hidden speakers playing German voices and papier-mâché Nazis to train spies in gutter fighting. Conspiracy theorists believe that this was just the alpha test, and the modern equivalent is rumored to be deep under Site R or the abandoned sections of Fort Ritchie. Instead of a papier-mâché Nazi, these modern kill houses, quote-unquote, are allegedly used to train units in close-quarters battle against non-traditional threats, potentially the biological assets like the Doeo prototypes we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It's just fucking crazy.
It's like you keep peeling back like a layer of the onion, and like it just keeps there's just more onion. It's like
documented records for Site R mention a deep underground C2 center with over 3 miles of air entrainment. The massive air vents are a source of the Hagerstown hum, which I've never heard of, but
I haven't. No.
But more importantly, people believe these shafts are where the snallygasters are housed. If you're testing a drone or a bioengineered aerial asset, you don't fly it out the front door, you launch it through these vertical shafts, and it explains why sightings of the snallygaster often occur near the ridge lines where these vents are hidden among the rocks. There is a famous claim to show maps of a 6.5-mile tunnel between Camp David and Site R, and while the government calls it a joke, engineers have pointed out that the geology of the Catoctins is perfect for supporting deep, unlined tunnels. The Shadow project here is the Maglev shuttle, a high-speed silent transportation system that allows the Shadow cabinet to move between the presidential retreat and the military command center without ever being seen by a satellite or a local.
That to me isn't crazy. Like that sounds that's more cool to me, just from like an engineering perspective.
Yeah,
like to think that they could do something like that. You know, like bore out this giant tunnel in the mountain and connect it like
and I feel like they could totally do it.
Yeah,
without that many people noticing. Because if you're ever up in that area, the only people that live there are people that have lived there their whole lives.
Yeah.
More or less. And it's pretty lightly populated.
It's quiet up
all
there,
things considered.
Yeah,
and Camp David, I mean, I don't know how big Camp David is, but it seems like there's at least 40, 50 acres of restricted area that you're not allowed to go near.
Yeah.
You know, people will come out and tell you got to turn around, you got to go away, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so to think that you just start an underground project at Camp David, who's going to know?
Yeah.
So we'll kind of wrap this up with the shadow cabinet theory. You know, you start like you said, the onion. I feel like we went really deep down with the government mutation labs and stuff like that. The shadow cabinet, I think, is probably the most realistic conspiracy theory because, like, it's more or less proven to be true.
Yeah.
It's actually a documented part of the U.S. national security, and though the details are shrouded in enough secrecy to fuel some wild speculation in the world of continuity of government, the Shadow Cabinet isn't a group of villains in robes. It's a parallel administration designed to step in if Washington, D.C. is decapitated by a strike or a natural disaster. So the heart of the theory lies at Mount Weather in Virginia, which I guess is another site that's connected to Site R and the Pentagon, underground Pentagon, and all that stuff. But it's officially a FEMA facility used for emergency training and disaster response coordination. And since the 1950s, it has been rumored to house a replica government. This includes a shadow president and a shadow cabinet made up of senior officials who are rotated through the facility on temporary assignment. Staffers who worked deep inside these mountains are sometimes called moles. The theory is that there is a permanent staff of hundreds who live, work, and quote-unquote rehearse governing a post-apocalyptic America from subterranean levels. You've probably heard of the designated survivor during the State of the Union, but the shadow cabinet theory suggests this happens every single day. At any given moment, there are high-level officials from every federal agency, agricultural, treasury, state, etc., stationed at Site R. Who are they? The names of these shadow officials are never classified, though theorists believe they aren't just deputies, but individuals specifically trained to lead under Executive Order 12656, which grants the government massive powers during a national security emergency. One of the more off-the-wall but plausible parts of the theory is that these facilities house a shadow constitution. Under COG protocols, the rules we live by on the surface are suspended. Inside Mount Site R, there are reportedly files and protocols for martial law seizing private property and controlling all communications on a much larger scale. Rumor has it that there are literal binders that contain pre-written executive orders that only need a signature to fundamentally change the American legal landscape in an instant.
That's fucking wild. Could you imagine just everything that we know about our Constitution, our way of life, just completely obliterated by a few signatures from an underground facility that we have no idea of accessing or figuring out or who these people even are.
That's fucking crazy.
That is wild.
And to think that it's like 5 miles away from my house.
Yeah. Like the epicenter of all this bullshit going down. Like
it's right there.
Right there.
Drive past it every day.
Yeah.
I can't even comprehend it.
It's like a shadow guy, like a government just rolls up on your home and they're like, hey.
Like all the lights just go out.
Yeah, like we're seizing this like for national security.
No, you're not. You can't do that.
Yeah, but we can.
But we can.
Because we have a signature.
It's just like the new... It makes me think of like Man of Steel. You see Man of Steel where Zod comes over the airwaves and it's like that really fuzzy. He's like, give the Kryptonian to me and everything will be fine. You have 4 days. And it's on every TV screen. And it's on everybody's cell phones and everything like that. Like, that's what I imagine if the shadow government would take over. It would just be like that. It's like, this is no longer the United States of America. This is it's something different.
Yeah.
Some theorists believe that the shadow cabinet isn't just about politics. It's about the continuity of culture. It's rumored that deep within the greenstone of Raven Rock or the vaults of Mount Weather, there are digital archives of every piece of American culture, from the Declaration of Independence to the top Billboard hits of the 1990s. If the surface world is wiped out, the shadow cabinet has the blueprints to rebuild society exactly as it was.
You could just pick like a time frame. All right, let's go with 1975.
No. I don't want to do that.
87. No. When did the Szechuan sauce come out of McDonald's? That was the year. 98.
No, hold on. Remember when Pokemon was huge and Burger King had all the licensing to all the Pokemon? Let's do that again. That was the best time.
That was a time to be alive.
But since we're near Hagerstown, we're in the middle of the quote-unquote federal arc. This is a 300-mile radius around D.C. where nearly 100 of these continuity sites are hidden. If the shadow cabinet ever truly takes over, the Maryland-Pennsylvania border essentially becomes the new capital.
That's cool. I mean, not really, because then that just puts a target on our back.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We'd be like the one, all right, well, nuke those guys.
Yep, exactly. Just a couple of other things to touch on before we wrap this episode up. Some other theories around Fort Ritchie. There's a house there, and I tried to find it, but I don't really know exactly which one it is. It says it's Building 100, also known as the Rookery.
Yeah.
I tried to figure out which building it is, but none of them have the original building numbers on them, except for a few. Allegedly, this is a place where they test high-tech holographic imaging and stuff like that, and other kind of electrical warfare and like weapons you can't see.
Sure. Things
that cause nausea, like EMF kind of
I got you.
weapons.
Yeah.
There's also a theory that there's a ghost that haunts there, the lady in white, and some speculate that that's just a holographic image projected to scare people away and like use that as a method of testing their weapons.
Sure.
So I thought that was a really cool one. But yeah, that's literally just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to these kind of places.
Yeah.
That I can fit in here in this 45 minutes or so.
We should do like a continuation of like this kind of episode where there's a couple sites out west, like in Colorado.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that there are sites like this all over the place.
Yeah, and there's people, So like, just like kind of like discussing it like on a future episode. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had shit, dude. Just talk about taking me for a fucking loop. I had no idea that like all that stuff. Like I knew Site R was like there, and like, but
I mean, you knew a lot about it for a person that doesn't know anything about it.
Well, maybe it's like different because like my parents,
because we're like kind of local,
and like my parents, my dad, and my granddad, they're in the military, so like, I grew up hearing those like military stories. About,
okay,
like,
well that makes sense.
So like that, so when you said Site R, I was like, oh yeah, I mean like I've heard it, like but that all that shit, I had no idea, like.
Underground Pentagon / underground bioengineering labs / cryogenic freezing chambers.
Like the underground Pentagon, like that's as far as like
as you get.
As I get was like there was it's there. There's a whole city underneath there. It's pretty much designed to operate if the U.S. falls. Essentially. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the bioengineering shit, like Dietrich, like because like my dad, he would he told me back when he was in the Army. He had signed up for a volunteer program where they were testing malaria, and he remembers going like underneath Dietrich or whatever, and like they were like giving him shots of like malaria and stuff like that, and testing like what the effects are and all that.
Oh wow.
But so like Dietrich definitely does like biological stuff, and if there ever was like a biological incident like that came out of Dietrich, like it could be pretty catastrophic. There's some pretty hardcore shit that they're testing down.
Oh, I bet.
It's like
that's another one of those places. Like I can't believe I live so close to a place like that. That if one thing goes wrong, we are so fucked.
Well, I had a professor in college for microbiology, and that's what he did. Like when he wasn't teaching at HCC, he was at Dietrich, and he was talking about some of the stuff that they're like testing. Like from a biological standpoint, he's like, yeah, there's some pretty nasty stuff that we're like researching down there, like Ebola and things like that. Like if it gets out, like it could be pretty nasty coming out of Dietrich.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's cool though.
Yeah.
No,
I thought so.
That was fun. I like that.
I was like, I look at this every day. I walk around Fort Ritchie every day, more or less.
That ominous radio
Sight C's
tower
right there. Yeah.
That ominous radio tower that's just like glowing during the winter.
Yeah.
Like,
all
with,
the time.
The star. I'm like, oh god.
When it's crazy is that what made me think of this conspiracy theory episode, I was literally driving home, and in the wintertime with all the trees gone or without any foliage that blocks it, you see the massive scale that this site is. Like it looks like it's just that radio tower but there is like, I would say at least 2 miles worth of lights and like a perimeter of how big that fucking site is.
Really?
It's enormous. Yeah.
I haven't noticed the lights. Like the lights.
But when you get closer to it, you can see it. Like from my house where you're like, you can actually see mostly the whole way up. Yeah. You can really see how big it is. And the same goes for Site R. When you're like the underground Pentagon going up 116 at night, you see the lights from the road that goes all the way up and all the way around the mountain. If you're going over Jackson Mountain Road coming through Fairfield, going back up towards Blue Ridge Summit in those areas, I mean, you crest that hill and the mountain that it's in is right in front of you, and it's like massive. Yeah. Like you don't really realize how big it is until you see it at that angle. Holy shit. I can definitely see how they fit a whole city under there.
I need you to take me out there sometime and like actually take me out to the road because I haven't seen it yet.
I don't know how far you can go for some of those smaller places, or for like Site R.
Yeah.
I know the road that you turn off to get to it, but I don't know how far you can go to actually get to it before they turn you around.
Yeah, and they just roll up on you. Guns drawn.
First guard we see, like, hey, do you want to be on a podcast? Yeah, you want to tell us what's happening here?
And boy, would I. Well, no, that was cool.
What was your favorite theory of those ones?
Definitely the one where the Snallygaster is being it's a bioengineered super weapon.
War machine.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I love that they're running tests between the Snallygaster and DeWeo.
Yeah.
And it's so possible. Like I honestly
I just imagine like Nazi Germany in the 40s, you just see like a snake, like that's where it came from.
Right.
Like, what if that's the lore?
Dude,
where it's like the Nazis like were.
What if the Ritchie boys were using, because it's a German folklore? Yeah. What if they're bioengineering a Snallygaster to attack Germany? Like they bring it over secretly from the United States. Like they made it in Fort Ritchie to take it back to Germany to threaten them with a Snallygaster.
Yeah, and it's like, oh,
because they'd be like, holy shit.
It's the Schnellgeist. Yeah, and like it just starts wreaking havoc on them. It's like,
That was a lot of fun. We're going to have to do some more conspiracy theory episodes.
They're just they're fun to do because you can just keep digging.
Oh yeah,
and
I had pages of notes for this.
Yeah. So yeah, in the future we'll definitely do some more conspiracy theories and kind of revisit the general topic of conspiracy theories. But yeah,
absolutely,
good stuff.
Oh, that being said, thank you guys for joining us on this episode. As always, you can find us on social media: Facebook, Shadows and Sightings, a Paranormal Podcast; Instagram, Shadows and Sightings Pod; or shoot us an email at shadowsandsightings@gmail.com. I always like hearing your suggestions, your feedback, your stories, anything that you've got. Send them in to us. Let us know. Take a screenshot of you listening to this. Send it to us. We'll post it on the socials and all that good stuff. Just let us know you're out there listening. But until next time, we'll see you then when we talk about all things spooky.